As someone who has been in the software engineering world for the past 10 years and has an engineering degree, the level of delusion that we have right now in the world is a little crazy for me, and I needed to make a quick video to break down my thoughts. Let's just say this loud and clear. AI won't instantly make you capable of replacing a software engineer or doing their job better. There's no two ways around it, right? If anybody's played with the tech, they understand this sentiment very well, and anybody that believes otherwise is delusional, in my opinion. The other day, I was on a call, and a potential client said to me almost verbatim, I could have 90% of this built out by just talking to AI myself, but it's longer than I want it to take, and I want to get this done, and I want to get it done right. I don't want to have to do all that work. I'm just saying, it sure looks like we're moving so fast that it's almost writing itself. This is a statement from a potential client that I was walking him through some business requirements and explaining him what we're going to build. This sent me down a spiral, and I couldn't believe the state of the world that we're in if people have this level of confidence in AI and really believe this to be true. This level of delusion needs to be removed from the world. AI is not replacing developers anytime soon. The idea that AI will replace developers is a dangerous myth, and it's time to clear the air and see what's actually happening in the world. I'm going to try to break it down based on what I'm seeing in the world and what I'm seeing from the AI output that's coming out. All right? So first things first, let's just compare hype versus reality here. I know job market conditions are not that great. And some people are probably pandering and thinking that it's due to AI and it's due to AI replacing jobs or jobs being outsourced, so on and so forth. But we're forgetting a very important time in our lives here, which is the COVID period. Big tech and big companies were overhiring during COVID, okay? And if we reference this article, for example, from CNN Business, it describes exactly what I'm talking about. By September of 2022, Amazon had more than doubled its corporate staff compared to the same month in 2019, hiring more than 500,000 additional workers and vastly expanding its warehouse footprint. Meta nearly doubled its headcount between March 2020 and September of last year. Microsoft and Google also hired thousands of additional workers, as did other tech firms like Salesforce, Snap, Twitter, all of which have announced layoffs in recent weeks. So during the pandemic, there was so much money flowing from different sources, whether it be the government, people. They were seeing an uptick in demand because a lot of people were staying home and using a lot more of the tech. But let's make it clear, during that time in the pandemic, there was a lot of overhiring occurring, right? This is the percentage of change during that period. If you see here, Amazon grew by 106%. Meta grew by 103%. These are insane numbers that are not sustainable. Join that with what's happening in recent months here. And this paragraph describes it very well. In recent months, high interest rates, inflation, and recession fears causing a pullback in advertising and consumer spending have all weighed on tech companies' profits and share prices. Wall Street analysts now project single-digit revenue growth during the all-important December quarter for Google, Microsoft, and Amazon, and declines for Meta and Apple when they report earnings in the coming weeks, right? So essentially here, due to both overhiring and the current state of the economy, this is leading to these big, giant corporations making mass layoffs, right? If we look at the numbers one more time here, how major tech companies grew their workforces during the COVID-19 pandemic, right? Amazon in 2019 had 750,000 employees. That number jumped to 1.5 million in 2022. Now, they have fired a ton of people. So what happens when a ton of people get fired, right? There is a big rush of developers and talent entering the marketplace. There are still jobs out there, but now competition is more fierce, right? You have some of the best engineers in the world competing for a role. So, of course, that's going to lead to scarcity at the current moment, but this is just a part of the cycle. This is not all happening due to AI. Yes, some of it may be due to AI, but there's bigger factors at play here if we look at history. Companies need engineers, period blank, right? If they didn't, they wouldn't still be hiring. And if you go on Indeed or if you go on LinkedIn and you look, there's tons of job openings for engineers and developers. Those have not suddenly gone away because AI and ChatGPT and Claude have come out. All right. Let's talk about who's saying AI will replace developers, right? If you look at a lot of the folks that are talking about AI replacing developers, you'll realize time and time again that it's AI companies pushing this narrative, right? They're trying to boast their predictions and they're trying to get more investors and more money and so on and so forth, right? They're trying to grow a business. And how do you do this? Create headlines and create marketing pandemonium, right? Listen, of course, over time, once the technology is more mature, teams may get smaller, right? You're going to be able to do more with less. But to say completely replace development teams is an overstatement. And anybody that says that it does not see the big picture here. So Mark Zuckerberg, in a recent interview with Joe Rogan here, said that AI will replace mid-level engineers by 2025. He believes AI can take over coding tasks, allowing human engineers to focus on higher level problem solving and creativity. Other tech giants like Google have also started integrating AI in coding processes. While initially costly, companies hope the transition to AI generated code will become more efficient over time. This shift may reduce the demand for mid level coding roles, pushing software engineers towards more strategic responsibilities. Quote unquote, from Mark Zuckerberg, my view on this is like future people are just going to be so much more creative and are going to be freed up to do kind of crazy things. So basically, here, what Mark is saying is he believes that mid level engineers are all going to be gone and they're going to focus on other tasks in the organization, right? They're not going to let them go, but there's still a need for the engineers. So I think what he's alluding to here is that engineers are not replaceable. They're just going to be used in a different function. That skill set, that knowledge is still going to be required. It may not be used in the same manner, but it's still required. He's not saying that all these teams are gone. He's saying these teams are being used in other areas. But once again, back to my original theory, it's important to look at who's saying this. Meta just said they're going to spend up to $65 billion this year to power AI goals, right? So these guys are really pushing for AI to be the next big thing, and they're going to do everything in their power to make the optics seem that way. And it very well may be, and it very well is the way of the future, but the level of the impact you must realize is going to be quite exaggerated when it comes from these folks, right? They're trying to sell you a product, they're trying to sell to investors, they're trying to raise more capital, and they have to do it by making these types of statements, right? No two ways about it. No two ways about it. Let's really talk about what's going on though, right? What is an LLM at its core, right? Because I don't believe that people understand this concept. The layman's person that's looking at AI does not understand what we're talking about when we say an LLM. So I'm just going to describe it real quick. An LLM, right? A large language model is an advanced AI system trained on vast amounts of text data to understand, generate, and process human language. It uses deep learning techniques to predict and generate text, answer questions, summarize information, and assist with various language-related tasks. Examples include OpenAI's GPT models and Google's Gemini. So don't get it confused, right? AI isn't thinking in the way that humans think. It is just making statements based on its trained data, right? So how does it get the data to write the code, right? It needs to be from other humans. It needs humans to write good code so that it can be trained on that good code to write effective code. There's a very important point to make here. AI is not generating good code at the current moment. While everybody uses AI to write code, the AI is going to be training on the code that it's produced. There's a theory that it's going to potentially just keep training on bad data and continue to generate worse and worse and worse code as the time goes on. So that's why it's very important for humans to actually write good code and train the AI on how to write good code. Because if it keeps going in the manner it's in, there's a big chance it keeps recycling the same data over and over and over again and keeps producing the same output garbage that it does currently. Nowadays, it feels like people think because AI writes code, engineers aren't needed. I need to make this abundantly clear. Skills and experience matter more than ever. Software development is not just writing code. In the world of AI, you need to know what to ask, how to ask it, and how to use the output. Giving AI a prompt doesn't mean you'll get production ready code. Okay? Skills matter here, folks. If I were to give AI to a layman's person who has never encoded before, do you think the output would be the exact same as me, a 10-year experienced software developer? There's no chance. I know what questions to ask. I know the manner in which those questions should be asked. I have the context, I have the skills, I have the experience to write the accurate prompts. Somebody with no background will not understand what to write and will not know how to use the output. For example, if I needed to create a server configuration for a website and I had AI in my hands, I would not go into ChatGPT or any of these AI tools and write, hey, please give me a server configuration file that I can use. That's what a person who doesn't have the background knowledge would put in, and they would get returned garbage. Me, as an experienced developer, I'm going to say, give me an Apache config that I can use in my vhosts file and make sure that it has an htaccess overwrite and my root directory is /var www, etc. The two outputs from those two different scenarios are going to be night and day difference. And that's where experience and skills and knowledge come in. So don't think that because you have AI or you're capable of accessing AI that you're able to replace an engineer, because you do not have the skill set or the knowledge to replace an engineer. Okay? Period, blank, end of story. So like we said before, software engineering is not just writing code. There's real value to having software engineers, and that's why 4-year degrees and all these college degrees are actually still important, right? Things like architecture design or problem solving, security, scalability. A layman's person going into AI and trying to write code and achieving all of these things without the background knowledge is going to produce garbage 100% of the time, right? Yes, the AI might guide. Yes, the AI might help. But is it going to be ever production ready code or enterprise level code? Not at the current moment whatsoever. And I've tested it out myself, and the AI is not capable of anything more than simple tasks and simple prompts and small code bases. Period. End of story. So I'm talking a lot about AI, and I just want to make it abundantly clear AI is the future, and AI will be in our everyday lives. But what is the future of AI? AI is going to become assisted engineering, right? It's going to allow for strong developers to use AI to enhance their workflow. Projects that used to take us weeks may take us days, okay? AI is not going to replace problem solving, design, and creativity. Strategic thinking is going to very much be a part of it, and that's where that software engineer, that human software engineer, must come into play. And lastly, AI is going to empower engineers. It's not going to replace them. And here's the honest truth. If you're getting replaced by AI, then you're probably not a very strong developer, and you don't have the skills or the knowledge, or you weren't writing very complex code or working on very big projects, to be honest with you. AI automates repetitive, low-level tasks, but real engineering involves strategic thinking, system design, and creative problem solving. So if you are worried that AI is going to replace you as a software engineer, you have to look within yourself, probably pick up a book and do some studying. So here are my final thoughts. AI is a tool, not a replacement. Strong developers will leverage AI to be more efficient. The future is AI assistant engineers, not AI replacing engineers. How people are talking about AI powered code development in the year 2025. So, Mario Rodriguez, Chief Product Officer at GitHub. Once again, the creators of GitHub Copilot. They are very much invested in AI, so keep that in mind when you're reading statements. But he says here, this past year, AI tools have become increasingly essential for developer productivity. Rodriguez said that tools like GitHub Copilot can already generate 30 to 50% of code in certain workflows. The tools can also help automate repetitive tasks and assist with debugging and learning. They can even serve as a thought partner to help developers go from idea to applications in minutes. So keep in mind here that he's talking about certain workflows. This is marketing tactics, right? They are talking about very simple, small projects, not complex workflows, right? In a complex workflow world, it's not generating 30 to 50% of a code base, guys. All right? There's no two ways about it. There's no two ways about it. So Friedman is the co-founder and CEO of Kodo. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. He says here, however, for complex enterprise software that powers Fortune 5,000 companies, AI isn't yet capable of full end-to-end automation. It excels at specific tasks like question answering on complex code, line completion, test generation, and code reviews. Simply using AI to generate more lines of code could actually worsen code quality, which is already a significant problem in enterprise settings. Friedman said, so the reason that we don't see huge adoption yet is because there are still more advances in technology, engineering, and machine learning that need to be achieved in order for AI solutions to fully understand complicated enterprise software. So, when you hear these crazy numbers of 30 to 50% of the code is written, you have to understand the context that they're putting that in. They're writing small apps that are built to do very specific things in small code bases. It does not work for large scale applications that are used on an enterprise level or on a big business level. All right? Anything more complex, it is not as useful. Lastly, here we have an article from GitHub on LinkedIn saying, is AI replacing developers? New data suggests otherwise. I'm just going to jump right down to the last portion here. Leverage AI for routine tasks so you can focus on bigger creative stuff. AI tools like GitHub Copilot reduce time spent on repetitive tasks. According to the report, tools like GitHub Copilot can slash vulnerability fixing time from 1.5 hours to just 28 minutes. Use this time to focus on creative, high-impact problem solving. So essentially, again, what they're saying here is this tool, AI, is helpful for very repetitive tasks. It can help with some bug fixes, but it's not going to do all the work for you. You have to have the background knowledge, right? There's a reason they said it went from 1.5 hours to just 28 minutes. Instead of it went from 1.5 hours to 2 minutes, right? That means that the code is being generated or analyzed by AI, and then a human is going through and updating it and making it work. All right? So, engineers, not going anywhere anytime soon. I promise you that. The day that comes where engineers are replaced, I promise you there's going to be a whole bunch of other job functions that are replaced before software engineers are replaced in this world. I just rambled there a ton. So let me know what you think. Drop a comment. Do you think AI is replacing developers anytime soon? What do you guys think about AI? How do you feel like it's going to fit into our world? Love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, guys.